and welcome to Symphony Legends. My name is Dominic Seldis, and on this edition, I shall be telling you the story of one of the greatest pieces of music ever, the Firebird by the Russian composer Igor Stravinsky. The utterly magical performance that follows this introduction will be given by the London Symphony Orchestra, conducted by Sir Simon Rattle. Now, very few composers write only for the concert platform. Most of them do symphonies, of course, but also operas, chamber music, solo piano work, solo violin, song cycles, and Stravinsky was no exception to this. But weirdly enough, it was ballet music that shot Stravinsky to worldwide fame. So let's get to this performance. Well, there's one thing that you'll notice: there's no dancers on stage. Stravinsky was aware that the music was strong enough to stand on its own 2 feet on the concert platform, which is why he made various concert versions of the ballet music, this being the 1911 suite. Stravinsky was already a fan of the ballet. He was taken to see a performance of Tchaikovsky's The Sleeping Beauty at the Mariinsky Theatre in St. Petersburg at the tender age of 8, and it made a huge impression on the young talent's brain. Stravinsky was an enormously gifted young pianist, but his father did not want him to have a life in music. He wanted him to get a proper job. I completely understand. So Stravinsky became a law student and went to university, but it was at university that he met and became friends with the son of the leading composer at the time in Russia, Rimsky-Korsakov. Stravinsky became a student of Rimsky-Korsakov, and having not entirely completed his law degree, he decided to become a full-time composing student at the age of 23. Stravinsky studied hard with Rimsky-Korsakov, but it wasn't until 1909 that the 28-year-old Stravinsky's life would change forever. There was a concert put on in St. Petersburg, and 2 pieces of music that Stravinsky had written was in that concert. But in the audience was a man who would change Stravinsky's life, and his name was Diaghilev. Diaghilev was the son of a wealthy vodka distiller with a passion for music. He was also an impresario. He had had huge success by bringing a Russian art exhibition to Paris to feed this obsession that Paris had in 1906 with all things Russian. He also then decided to start up his own ballet company, and that company would be called Ballet Russe. This newly formed ballet company would only be able to work during the summer months, though, as Diaghilev would employ dancers from Russia who were on their summer break from the Imperial Ballet Company in St. Petersburg to come over to Paris and perform. But this ballet company would become the most influential ballet company in the 21st century. Diaghilev had a habit of only employing the very best. He employed dancers like Nijinsky and Pavlova. He had people designing his sets like Henri Matisse and Pablo Picasso. He had Coco Chanel design the costumes for the dancers. But it was his commissioning of the great composers which was really amazing. We're talking about composers like Debussy, Satie, Ravel, Richard Strauss, Prokofiev, and many others. But it was his collaboration with Stravinsky that would really rocket both of them to incredible heights. So it was after hearing those 2 pieces in that one concert in St. Petersburg that Diaghilev decided to commission the completely unknown Stravinsky to write ballet music for him. Stravinsky had never written a ballet before, but took on the challenge, no problem. Diaghilev was extremely excited about his new young protégé, and to drum up enthusiasm with the local press, he put on previews of the new ballet with Stravinsky sat at the piano, playing the orchestral parts. A critic that was there wrote this: "The composer, young, slim, and uncommunicative, with vague, meditative eyes and lips set firm in an energetic-looking face, was at the piano. But the moment he began to play, the modest and dimly lit room glowed with a dazzling radiance. By the end of the first scene, I was conquered. By the last, I was lost in admiration. The manuscript on the music stand, covered in pencil markings, revealed a masterpiece. So what is the Firebird all about? Well, it involves the hero Prince Ivan, who is on a hunting trip in the forest. He is put under a magical spell, though, by Koshai the Immortal, whose immortality is preserved in a magical egg which contains his soul. Ivan continues hunting and captures a firebird. She offers him a feather. The feather can be used to summon her at any time that he is in dire need. Koshai is angry with him and sends in his minions to deal with Ivan. At this point, Ivan pulls out the feather and calls the Firebird. The Firebird appears, and her plan is very simple. She sets about enchanting the monsters and getting them to dance together this crazy and energetic dance, the infernal dance. Exhausted by all the dancing, the monsters and minions fall asleep. But the Firebird takes this opportunity to show Ivan where the hidden magical egg is. Remember that that egg contains the soul of the evil Koshai. Ivan opens the casket, takes the egg, breaks it, and the spell is lifted. Koshai disappears, as does his castle, and the real people that are left celebrate. So let's get to this performance. So the piece starts with cellos and basses, some of them pizzicatoing, some of them using their bow. You can see here that the back line are using the bow and the front line pizzicatoing, but it produces this creepy forest-like music, very low notes. Just in the cellos and basses. And then the violas join in to add another dimension to it, but still very slow and very quiet. What a way to set the scene.